Welcome to another episode of Blocks and Barriers with me, Tracy, the health coach. First of all, Happy New Year. Wish you an abundantly and exceedingly blessed new year. So yeah, this is the first episode of the new year. And before we continue, I just want to take this time to thank you all who saw my message to subscribe, and you subscribed, and I'm excited. My numbers have gone up and I'm over 100 subscribers, and I'm so thankful and I'm so grateful. And I wish you a super blessed year, a super blessed and healthy year. And thank you so much for taking heed to my message. So for the rest of you who haven't subscribed, please subscribe. So this episode is just going to be me and you trying to find out the best way to approach this season, where it's a season of new things, trying to do things in a new way. And then you have the usual new year, new me and resolutions. So what I'd like to do is to give you a few things to consider if you want to do a new thing in this new 2025. I know you're excited after the season. You've had a lovely time with your friends and family. Maybe you traveled. Or for some of you, 2024 ended on a note of loss, perhaps, bereavement, perhaps, or just grief in some sort of way. So you want in a celebratory mood, but it's led you to get into a place where you want to do things different. Maybe you want to cope better with what's happened. So I'm here to help you all, depending on where you are, to get to do a new thing in a new way and get new results, not just results, but to sustain those results. So if you've been excited and you've been writing your New Year's resolutions, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, I'm going to lose weight, I'm going to sleep better, I'm going to cut my social media timing or screen time, you're excited, you've written them down. I want you to break the glass and shatter and tear that paper apart. Because if you don't do your New Year's resolutions, if you don't do your plan in a certain way, it will not work. So then you get the typical thing of new year, new me. And then come January 31st, all that enthusiasm you had, all that, this is the year, this is it. Come January 31st, there'll be no sign of you. There'll be no sign of you working on your goals. There'll be just no sign of you having made any plans. And so we want to do it in a different way. If you do the same thing the same way, that will lead to no results. And it's also classed as insanity. So for this episode, you're going to need a pen and paper so you can write things down, because I will have some some homework for you or some things to think about. Or if you're like me and you prefer to type, get your laptop ready, get your phone, get your notes. If you're get your notes. I was going to say, if you're an iPhone, get whatever you use. But yeah, get whatever you use for writing. You can tell I'm not an iPhone fan. So get whatever you need to write down, because you're going to need to write things down. So sometimes you've written your goals, yes, and you've written specific goals, or you've just written general goals. Or sometimes you're thinking, where do I even start? You want to change so many things, but we need to just start somewhere small and then be progressive. If you do too much, you'll be overwhelmed, even though you have that enthusiasm now, but you just want to start somewhere. So if you're thinking, Tracy, where do I even start? I want to change all these 10 million things in my health and in my lifestyle. So a good way of doing that is maybe for everything you want to change in your health, just write it down. Write it down. I want to sleep better. I want to reduce the number of cups of coffee I drink. I want to be more active. I want to reduce my social media screen time, particularly Instagram or TikTok, be specific. Or I want to find my purpose this year. I want to have fun. I want to improve my social connections, write them down and then maybe give a score on each one out of 10. Which one do you feel, when it comes to sleeping, I only sleep 3 hours a night. So I'm going to score that 3 out of 10, for example. My social connections, I'm not doing too bad. I'll score it 7 out of 10. Eating healthy, oh gosh, I eat a lot of junk, Tracy. So 2 out of 10. So you can give each thing you want to change a score. And then from that, you can either choose, okay, the one with the least score or the one that's affecting you the most. So maybe you scored your sleep 6 out of 10, but actually it's the one that's making you tired. It's the one that's making you irritable. It's the one that's making you moody. So the impact is so much in your life. So that's the one you want to work on. So you can find where to start in that way, doing a score of the things that you want to change, then the one that's affecting you the most, or the one where you scored the least, that can be the one you start to change. So you need to think about it. You need to write it down and just give yourself that freedom to write whatever, as many as you wish, and then you can score, and then you can determine where to start. So you'll then pick one of that area. So the one you scored the least or the one that's impacting you the most. So just pick one area, because when you do 10 areas, you want to change 10 things at a time. It's too much. It's not realistic. It's not achievable. So just pick one out of that. And then why I said rip off that paper where you've written your New Year's resolutions is sometimes we don't make those goals. We don't write our plans based on the things that actually matter to us. Maybe you've done it. Well done. If you haven't, this is why I'm explaining this. So when you're setting up a plan, when you're setting up a goal, it needs to be linked to what matters to you. So if what matters to you is feeling refreshed, feeling energized, your health matters to you, then when you're setting a plan, when you're setting a goal, then that goal needs to be aligned with what matters to you, i.e. your values. So if you say your health matters to you, then the behavior you'd expect to see from yourself is you're someone who constantly manages stress. You're not someone who's just coasting in life and just going with emotions and just not dealing with the stress. If you say health matters to you. If you say, oh, fun matters to me, then you're someone who your behavior will look like this. You're someone who looks for activities to do, whether indoors or outdoors, whether with people or on your own, so you can have fun. So what matters to you is linked to your behavior. So if that's the case, then when we're setting our goals, we need to remind ourselves of the same. So if you say peace matters to you, then that means you're someone who but you value having difficult conversations, because after that difficult conversation, that's where peace really comes in. You're someone who values listening to somebody else's view. You put yourself in their position because what you're trying to do is to find peace in that situation, because peace matters to you. You're someone who avoids drama because peace matters to you. So when you think about it that way, and even maybe, let's say, if you say family matters to you, then your actions, your deeds, your behavior looks like someone who spends time with their family, on a Friday evening till Sunday evening. It's family time. It's you and your family, you and your friends. because family matters to you. So your behavior is a direct response to what matters to you, your value. So if you're someone who is constantly stressed, you're not dealing with stress, you do know you're stressed, but you're not doing anything about it, then if we go back to what matters to you, what would you say matters to you? What's your value if the outcome or if your behavior is that you're constantly stressed? If you're always someone who says yes, at work, oh, can you stay 2 hours behind? Oh, can you work tomorrow? And you worked the whole week, the whole Christmas season. You were working, whether from home or the actual venue, location. You're always somebody who says yes. Then what's the value? What really matters to you? Yes, it may look like the typical, yeah, you're a people pleaser, but what's the value there? And do you like the value that's showing? Then if you're someone who sleeps 3 hours and you're constantly tired, you're constantly fatigued, you don't have the energy to go out and meet your friends, then what's the value attached to that behavior? And do you like it? If you're someone who works 60 hours a week and you've said family matters to you, but you're not getting that time to spend time with your family and the people that matter to you, then what's actually the value? Because your behaviors show the value that's actually the value that you believe. So you may say that, oh, health matters to me, but what is your behavior showing you? So I want you to do this as part of the first exercise. So what matters to you? What matters to me? So 3 things. What really matters to you? Maybe you'll do it in 2 sections. What matters to me versus what my behavior is showing matters to me. What are your values? So I just want you to write 3 of the things that matter to you. 3 things that you consider your values. So is it your health? Is it fun? Is it longevity? Is it happiness? Whatever it is, just write 3 for me. So at this point, you can pause and write, or you can come back and write what matters to you. Then, when we're thinking of the things that we want to change in our health, in our lifestyle, we need to be honest with ourselves and be honest in terms of, okay, I sleep late. I watch Netflix, or, I binge watch a series and I end up sleeping late, but I want to change that this year. I want to be more energized. I want to sleep, get quality sleep. So we look at it in this way. What's the upside of sleeping late? So, sometimes what we're doing, some of our behaviors, they're so comfortable and they're so easy. So that's the upside of our existing behavior. We just want to do it because it's just easy. So we can be honest with ourselves and say, you know what? I love sleeping late because I get to watch my shows. They're so interesting. After such a hard day, I just need a way of unwinding. So for me, it's unwinding. So that's the upside of sleeping late. So just be honest with yourself. So again, get your writing device, whether you're writing on paper or on your laptop or on your phone, and just write for me, what's the upside of the behavior that you're trying to change? So, if you're trying to reduce the number of cups of coffee, what's the upside? Oh, I get energized. I love the taste of coffee. And what else? It's just something to do with my colleagues. We have a cup of coffee, we chat. So it's almost like something that brings social connections. So just, be honest. It's okay, because when you figure these things out, that's when you'll see the truth of why it's been difficult for you to make those changes. Then, let's be honest now. What's the downside of the existing behavior? So what's the downside of that one thing that you want to change? So let's say, again, let's go back to the example of sleeping. You want to sleep better. You want to wake up feeling refreshed, energized, and you don't want to be moody, you don't want to be irritable, you don't want to be lashing out at people. So what's the downside of sleeping late? The downside is exactly what I've said. You feel irritable, you feel moody, you end up lashing out at people. You've said you're going to do some exercise, but you literally don't have time, not time, but the energy to do the things you want to do for your health. So just list down for me the downside of the current behavior that you're trying to change. So just 3 things that are the downside. So again, you can pause and think or save it for later. And if you feel someone else may benefit from this, then share this video with a friend or family member, and you can work on this together. So the downside of your existing behavior, the downside of drinking 6+ cups of coffee, the downside of sleeping late and waking up early, the downside of the thing that you want to change. If you know, what's the downside of not changing it? So just 3 things. Then, of course, there's a downside of changing, because say if you're someone who likes to go out, fun is your value. Fun is what matters to you. So you like to go out, but you've noticed, especially during Christmas or December, you'll be going out every night. You're sleeping late because you're coming back home late. And then in the morning, you've had to go to work, whether, you're working from home or you go to the office, and you're just, you're thinking, if I change my sleeping routine and go to bed earlier, it's gonna be boring. I want to go out and have fun. So what's the downside of change? It's boring. I'll miss out on hanging out with my friends. Or sometimes it's just scary. Okay, if I change, my drinking habits, my alcohol consumption, what does that mean? Will I lose my friends? Will my friends see me as boring, uptight? Just be honest with yourself and list down the things that would be the downside of making the change that you want to change. Is it scary? I just don't know what's going to happen. So you know what? Better the devil I know, so I'll continue. No, we want to explore what's the downside of the change when you make the change. So just write 3 things that will be maybe the negative or the disadvantage of making the change that you want to make. So again, pause, or you can save it and rewatch it again and take time to think of what's the downside of the change, or just write it as a point, and then later after the episode or in your own time, you can think about these things. So there's an upside to changing, and that's why everyone makes New Year's resolution. There's something you will get. There's something you'll get when you sleep better. There's something you'll get when you're not relying on coffee. There's something you'll get when you're more active. Not only will you feel better, not only will your fitness level improve, but it will improve your mental health. So what's the upside of making the change that you want to change? So you said you're going to change one thing. So what's the upside of making that change? If I sleep earlier, I'll get more quality sleep. I'll wake up feeling refreshed. I'll be able to get the energy to do my work better. I'll be able to concentrate better. Everyone has a job where you need to concentrate, you need to focus. If you make a mistake, it can be really detrimental. So I'll be able to reduce the number of mistakes I've been making, or I'll be able to see things better. What's the upside? Sometimes you'll be full of energy, or you'll just feel proud of yourself. So write down 3 things that's going to be the upside of change. Pause, or come back to it later, or just write a note for you to think about the 3 things that you'd get, the positives you'd get out of making the change that you want to change in your health and in your lifestyle. So once you have this in place, now we can create a plan, because you've made a choice on the one area that you want to change. You've considered what really matters to you. You've looked at your behavior in terms of, okay, I say health matters to me, peace matters to me, but I don't deal with stress. I'm not eating healthy. So you've seen the behavior, and then you can challenge yourself. You know what? The value that's showing up is not actually the value that I say is my value. So after you've done these things, you've considered the upside of your current behavior. Yeah, it's fun to go out. You've considered the downside. I'm not getting enough sleep. I'm being irritable the next day. I can't concentrate. You've considered the upside of change. Or let me go. You've considered the downside is, yes, it will be difficult. It may mean my social connections may dwindle, but the upside is I'll be refreshed, I'll be energetic, I'll feel proud of myself. So you considered all these things, these important things. Now you can set the plan. Now you can create a clear plan, not just any plan, but a clear plan. So clear that if someone was to follow your plan, they would get the results that you're after. So clear that it's almost like a recipe. A recipe plan or a recipe. If someone was to follow it, it's so clear, and the outcome that you wanted to get, the person will also get. So, and the reason we're doing it this way is because if you don't do it this way, you'll end up to that scenario again that a lot of people are going to find themselves in. New year, new me. And then lots of enthusiasm. I'm going to do this. 2025 is my year. Come January 31st, the gym is empty. And the gym owners are now, they're not fazed because they know this is what happens. And for some people, they may not even last till January 31st. By next week, in 2 weeks' time, they've already fallen off the wagon. So this is where we're taking this approach. So the plan has to be specific. It's not, I'm going to do more exercise this year. No, I'm going to do more walking this year because one, you like walking. A lot of people, when it comes to physical activity, the mind goes into the gym. If you don't like the gym, you don't have to go to the gym. What activity do you like? You like walking, you like swimming. So your goal should incorporate what you like. So your plan should be things to do. Your plan should be about things that you like. So I like walking, but it's specific. Not just, I'm going to be more active this year. I'm going to do more walking. So when you say more walking, it's measurable. Your plan needs to have a measurability about it. So I'm going to walk for 10 minutes. I'm going to walk for 20 minutes. However, whatever time you feel is comfortable for you. So why you're saying it's comfortable for you, it's achievable. 10 minutes is okay for one person. 30 minutes is okay for somebody else. So what's achievable for you, and then now you make that into a measurable outcome or plan. So it's specific, it's measurable, it's achievable, it's realistic. So let me go back to achievable in terms of, you're someone you want to reduce the number of cups of coffee that you take. So you drink, let's say 10 cups of coffee and there's no judgment, and you want to reduce it by 1 cup, a day or a week. So for you, that feels achievable and it's measurable, so that at the end of the week, if you've only had 9 cups, or at the end of the day, you've had 9 cups, you've done what you said you would do. So it's measurable, it's achievable. And then it has to be realistic. So again, if it's, okay, when are you going to start? I'm going to start on Monday. I'm going to go to the gym twice a week. But hang on Monday, you have a flight, you'll be traveling for a week. And, by the time you finish your meetings, you're traveling for a meeting, the gyms will be closed. So is that realistic to say, I'm going to go to the gym on Monday, starting Monday? So either you can adjust it and say you'll start when you come back, or can you find another activity that you can do that fits in with your travel plans? So it may be, what, let me just focus on drinking water. Let me focus on having an extra vegetable, because, when you go for these, any traveling event or whatever, one thing, there'll be a buffet of all sorts of foods, but you'll be guaranteed to at least find a vegetable. So what would be realistic to you is, okay, if they have a salad spread, I'll have more salad. So then that's more realistic and achievable considering you'll be traveling. So the plan has to be achievable. It has to be realistic. The plan also has to be time bound. So you have a start date and you also have a finish date. So if you just say, oh, this year I want to be healthy, we've already said you need to be specific. So you've said you're going to do your walking. And when is the end of the year? Is it October? Is it November? Is it December 31st? So that you know on this date, this is when I should have achieved my goal. And also it keeps you motivated because you'll know, okay, January 31st is coming or December 31st is coming. I need to step up or pull up my socks. So it has to be time bound. And as I mentioned before, do things that you actually like. So the plan has to be exciting. So if we put it this way, you're going to walk for 10 minutes a day. You're going to start on Monday because you're not traveling. There's nothing, there's no barrier, there's no blocks and barriers that's going to come in your way. Then you feel excited. You feel excited. And when you're excited, that's when you're more likely to achieve your goal. But if you're dreading it, if you said, I'm going to go to the gym and you're not excited, you're not looking forward, you're actually dreading it, then that's a sign you need to revise that plan. So the last part about the plan is it needs to be rewarded. When I mean rewarded, I'm not saying now when you've done what you said you would, that you go and have you go and treat yourself to KFC or have a bottle of wine. No, not food, not drink, but you reward yourself somehow. It could be indoors, it could be outdoors, it could be something that doesn't cost anything, it could be something that costs anything. It's all up to you. So the reason why we do this rewards is to reinforce good habits, good behavior. Because remember, some of these habits, we've done them for years, and breaking a habit is difficult. So you want to train your brain that when we do something that is new, there's a reward in some way so that we can continue with that behavior. The same way you reinforce, a little child when they've done something good. So we need to reinforce good behavior for ourselves so we can keep going, because when you're making these changes, you want to do it for the long term. You're not just doing it for the fad of New Year. You want to keep it going for the long term. And this is how you get it to be sustainable. Because you're not just making changes just because it's January or because it's 2025. You want to keep this going. You want to sustain it. Because if you don't do it this way, again, I'll go back to that image of New Year, new me, and you're in the gym and you're excited. And then days later, a week later, the end of the month, there's no sign of life when it comes to your goal. So, and we don't want a situation where you're thinking, you know what, forget it this year. I've seen some memes that say, you know what, I've messed up already. 2026 will be my year. So no, you can set it up the way I've said, small, specific, realistic. Don't try and change too many things. But now here's the thing, we're human. We're not perfect. We will never be perfect. And you should not expect yourself to be perfect. So what that means is you will have setbacks. And when the setbacks happen, embrace them. Embrace the setback. It's just part of the journey to find out the formula that works for you. If you look at anyone who's successful in anything they've done, they've had so much failure before the success. So maybe your homework in this space is go and look for someone you admire and see how many times they failed or they had setbacks. They had so many. I think I remember Thomas Edison, the one who invented the light bulb and so many other things. He said something like he had to try 1,000 times before he became successful. So have it in your head that there will be setbacks, but embrace them and just keep going one step, one step, one step. So the reason setbacks happen is because there are blocks and barriers when we're trying to make changes to our health, when we're trying to make lifestyle changes, and they come in different forms. So you can have physical barriers. That's like example, right now, a lot of people have colds and flus. So you may say, you know what, I'm going to start on Monday, and then come Monday, you're poorly. So that can be a physical barrier. And it's just good to be realistic and say, okay, you know what, once I'm better, then I will start. Or sometimes you can have emotional barriers. As I mentioned before, some people were not in a celebratory mood, during the festive season for one reason or another. And so sometimes when you're feeling low, you may not find yourself in that space to take charge of your health and your lifestyle, and just give yourself again permission to go through the process and deal with your emotions, and then you can come back to it. Or sometimes you started well, enthusiastic, and life happened. So when life happens, then it's just a way of finding, okay, in that grief, or in that, you've had to travel unexpectedly, what can you do that can fit in? Because if we wait for perfect conditions, your skeleton will be waiting for perfect conditions, and there'll just never be a time that happens. So you could have emotional barriers. You can have motivational barriers where they're just not motivated. You've tried losing weight before and you're sort of scared, or maybe you have some PTSD about it and you're just not feeling motivated. So sometimes you can have motivational barriers, or sometimes you can have environmental barriers. On Monday, you're going back to work. You've been eating healthy. Actually, you took time off work, and in that time, you've been eating healthy, and then you go back to work, and there's donuts, and there's biscuits, and there's quality street chocolate. If you work in a pharmacy, at this time of year, people are bringing in all sorts of goodies and treats, and you're just like, oh my goodness. So that can be one of the environmental barriers to preventing you from achieving your goal. And then, of course, you have the habitual barriers. It's just habit. You've been used to, you come home and then you have your dinner. Then at 10 o'clock, you're doing admin because there's just no time at work. And now you're in this cycle where 10 o'clock, you're doing your admin, you finish work at 1, and then you're going to bed at 2, and then you wake up at 5. So you've just been in that habit for a long time. So those can be habitual barriers to preventing you from getting that quality sleep that you want, because you're just in that habit. So sometimes you've tried to do it by yourself and you need someone to help you to see things and pull out all these things that I'm saying. Let's look into the barriers. Let's look into what's really prevented you from getting your goal last year, the year before, and the year before, and the year before, so that we can do it in a different way. Sometimes you just need someone to be able to see your blind spots, or sometimes when I'm talking to people, I can instantly see what the problem is. But because you've been in that space for such a long time, you don't see it yourself. So sometimes getting support from someone else, whether someone your family, your friends, or a professional, it can be of so much value, because right there you'll be doing something different so that you can get a different result, and you keep it going. And sometimes the thing with seeking support is it requires you to be vulnerable. And I love what my guest on the last episode said. It needs you to be uncomfortable, or it's uncomfortable to seek help. But what you can look at it as is seeking help is a sign of strength. Because when you're vulnerable, that's a sign of strength. It's not a sign of weakness. Being able to admit, you know what, I need help, or I'm struggling with this, I've struggled with this before, can be really part of the game changer for you in doing things differently and getting the results you want. And I covered some of the reasons why people find it difficult to seek help. I think that was episode 8. So I'll also put the link to that episode so you can just identify for yourself, why do I need help, but why do I shy away? Why am I not so forthcoming, or is it forthcoming or forthgoing in seeking help? So here is also what you need to make sure your results, not your results, to make sure that you get the results you need. You need a space where all of you can be put into the picture so that all of you, let me explain it better. So as human beings, there are so many things about us that can impact the success of our goals. So let's say, example, you want to lose weight, but if you have no energy, at work, you're having stress. At home, your family life, good Lord, let's not even talk about your family life right now because there's so much drama, so much tension and stress, and it's so heavy on you. And then you also feel, you know what? I just don't feel like I'm moving in purpose or I'm not having fun. So when you have all these 5 areas going on that are not going well, it will have an impact into you achieving the success you want in your weight loss. So you need a space where all these things can be factored because they play a big they play a big role in you being successful. So you need a space where the different parts of you, excuse me, the different parts of you can be brought to light so that we see, okay, yes, you're trying to lose weight, but your energy levels, why your energy levels not what they need to be? You're not sleeping well. So we need to address the sleep. How are your eating habits? You're not eating well. You're very busy at work, so you just eat what you need. So we need to address those things because all those things are playing a part in you achieving your goal. So you need a space where all these things can be brought to light so you can find ways of overcoming them and dealing with them and tackling them. So you also need a space where you, as the expert of your body, is recognized. I've seen this in my pharmacy work where I'll tell people what to do. Eat healthy, eat your veggies, and people just don't do it. And it's not that they don't want to do it, but you know yourself. If I'm telling you eat more veggie and I haven't considered that, you know what, I don't like veggie. You don't like veggie. So, you're the expert of yourself. You know what's worked for you. You know what hasn't. You know your schedule. You know your timings and, the things, the dynamics in your family. Let me say that again. You know the dynamics in your life or in your family. So it's you to decide what would work for you. I was just watching an episode on Diary of CEO, and there was a doctor, and Stephen was asking him if someone wanted to lose weight, how would he approach it? And he said, you need to factor in, the things that are going on in their life, what's worked before or what hasn't worked before. What have you tried before? Because if you've tried something that didn't set you up for success, then it's not that it's you who wasn't it's not that it's you who was a failure. It's that thing you did that didn't set you up for success. So you're the expert of yourself. You know what's worked. You know what would work. I can't come and start telling you, go to the gym. You don't like the gym. So you need a space where you, as the expert of you, will be valued, will be at the topmost so that you work together and then you see what's the best way for you, because one size doesn't fit all. Then you also need a space where you can be quizzed or challenged on why do you want to lose weight? Why do you want to sleep? So let me take the example again of weight loss. So someone may say, you know what, I want to lose weight. Okay, why? Or what's your motive behind that? And they'll say, you know what, I just want to, all my friends are skinny and I also want to be skinny. Okay, so remember what I said before. What would be the upside of being skinny? Well, the upside will be I'll fit in more with my friends. So then it looks like for you, the motive or your why is actually to fit in when it comes to losing weight. So it's not about being healthy. So when you look at it that way, people say, actually, I never thought about it that way. So then is that something you're comfortable with, to lose weight for other people and not for yourself? And then that can actually highlight why you haven't been successful before, because when you do something for yourself, you're more likely to do it. When you're doing something for others, you're not likely to be successful. So you need a space where someone can challenge you. Why do you want to lose weight? And then you dig and you see the real reason why you want to lose weight. Is it for you or is it for somebody else? And then you need a space where you can go through and explore when life happens, what was the barrier? You said you'll do this last week. You said you'll sleep earlier. What's actually happening? What are some of the limiting beliefs that are happening that you have that are keeping you from your goal? So for some people, they'll say, I just can't stop eating. But when you dig and explore, when they were young, they were told you must finish your food. Even if you're full, you must finish your food. So that's just kept on going, even as an adult. So you need a space where these things can be explored. And you need a place where you can be held accountable so that what I say I'm going to do. It's not just me holding myself accountable, but somebody else is also holding you accountable. And it's not just holding you accountable like you didn't do this or you didn't do this. No, it's a place of support. So you need a place where they support and where you can be held accountable. And also a place where you can be challenged. So maybe you're enthusiastic, you've lost the weight, and you're like, yeah, now this week I want to lose 10 kilograms. And someone can come in to educate you as well as challenge you and say, is 10 kilograms really healthy? So these are the kinds of spaces that you need. And if you don't get this kind of space, then you'll find it again a struggle. For some people, they're able to do it on their own with their own willpower and determination and commitment. But for some people, you just need support. And if you need support, that's okay. This is where I come in. And of course, I'm here for you. But you just need a place, whether it's me, whether it's somebody else, another health coach. And this is why I advocate for health coaching, because this is the kind of space that we provide. So whether you're looking for myself or somebody else, just find that space so that you can do things differently and you can get different results. It's about keeping it going in the long term. It's about keeping it going in a sustainable way. So if you're thinking, you know what, Tracy, you've given me something to think about, excellent. And yeah, I'd love to get your comments. So put your comments. What do you think about this process or how I've put this out? And I also have a challenge for you. So if you're thinking, you know what, this year I just want to take it easy, but I still want to make changes, then I have a challenge for you. And I'm calling it my 8-week challenge. So what it's about is I'm going to put different categories, 8 categories of things we can do to improve our health. So the categories: eating healthy, your mental health, social connections, physical activity, and I put a list of options in each category. And I just want you to pick one thing out of that category. So example, we have eating healthy. So I've got a list of options here. So example, you can add one extra vegetable to one meal or to 2 meals or to 3 meals. Or you can say, you know what, for your evening meal, you're going to have a handful of carbs, or you're just going to do something for your gut health. And so you're going to have plain yogurt, or you're going to have kefir or kefir, or whatever you want to call it, just something for your gut. So I just want you to pick one thing in that category in terms of eating healthy. So you can pause, have a look at the options, or take a picture. Or if you're watching this on your phone, you can take a screenshot and just pick one thing that you feel is achievable and realistic for you. Then we move on to the next category of hydration. So again, just pick one thing that feels realistic and achievable for you. So it could be, you know what, Tracy, I'm going to drink a glass of water first thing in the morning. And you do that just for 1 week. Not every day, just 1 week, because we're just trying to get you into the mindset of just doing something, not doing it intense, not doing it unrealistically, just doing something. So 8 categories, There are different options in each category. Pick one thing, and you're going to do that one thing for 1 week. So that's why it's an 8-week challenge, just one thing for 1 week. So again, in hydration, you can say, you know what, when I'm watching a movie or when I'm scrolling on social media, I will sip water. So just one thing in that category. Then we move into the category of sleep. So in sleep, you'll say, you know what, if I wake up at night, and a lot of people do wake up at night, if I wake up at night, I'm going to sit on a chair and I'm going to read a book and just listen to calming music. I will not get onto my phone. I know it's tempting. I know all of us, we do it time to time, but you want to do things in a different way. So that's one of the things that you've seen in terms of sleep that you like to do, or you want to have your final caffeine drink, whether it's tea, coffee, or your what's it called, your energy drink. You'll have the last one at 12 p.m. If that feels realistic, excellent. Or if you feel, you know what, I just want to make my room dark, and just either I'll invest in a night blinder, or I will what do you call it? I will get dark curtains. Then that's something that you can do. So just pick one thing out of the sleep category. Then when it comes to your mental health, maybe you're someone who finds it difficult to share with someone about any challenges that you're going through. So you may say, you know what, I'm going to go for the option that says message a close friend, telling them I've had a bad day, and just for them to keep me in their thoughts and prayers. So you can choose that, or you can say, you know what, Tracy, before I go to work, I'm just going to take 10 deep breaths, or before I start work, 10 deep breaths. Then that's something for your mental health, just to relax you, to calm you, and you know you're doing something proactively for your mental health. Then we go on to the category of me time. Me time is crucial and important. So you're going to say, you know what? Every 7 o'clock, I'm going to watch a movie, or I'm going to watch a favorite movie. But remember, you're just doing this for 1 week. So it may be just on one occasion, I'm going to watch my favorite movie, or I'm going to just dedicate 10 minutes to sit in silence. Maybe you're a busy mom, or you're a busy professional, you're working 60 hours a week. Where are my words going? You're working 60 hours a week and you don't have time. That's just the reality. So you're just going to spend 10 times in silence. Then when it comes to physical activity, you know what? I work from home, so I'm just going to do 10 squats after sitting for an hour. Or in the morning before I get to my desk, I work from home, I'm going to stretch for 5 minutes. So just pick one activity out of that. Then when it comes to social connections, I'm sorry if I've been going too fast, but you can pause and and take a screenshot. I just realized I'm going too fast. So when it comes to social connections, again, pick one thing. You know, you're passionate about the homeless, so look for somewhere where you can go and feed the homeless just once a week, or on this particular week, you're going to do that. Or you're going to reach out to someone you haven't spoken to in a while, or the introverts will be saying, no, 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 I'm not going out. So maybe just have a phone call, or schedule a video chat with someone you love for 10 minutes, just 10 minutes. And then the final section, it's almost like me time, but I just wanted to have its own category, and this is rest. You're working hard, maybe you've had such a rough 2024. You just want to find a relaxing place, like a park or a botanical garden, if you're blessed to be in a sunny place. Or you just go to a small, cozy cafe and just sit and just relax, maybe read a book, or just people watch if you love people watching, or schedule a day when you're not working, or an afternoon if you have that privilege. I know not everyone will have that privilege or ability. Just cancel your appointments for the afternoon so you can recharge and just rest or you want the option of just lying down for 5 minutes and just focus on breathing, just to reset yourself and just to calm yourself, especially if you've had a long day. So these are some of the things you can do if you're thinking, you know what, I've got too many things I want to change, but you just want to do something. And this just gets you into the mind frame of doing something and just taking note of what works for you. Then you can adjust it. Then you can set your clear plan. Then you can execute your clear plan. Whatever you do, though, it's just about doing your best and doing something. So literally, I've said, just do that one task for 1 week. So, you can be the most busiest person, but I am sure with the schedule that you have, you can fit in one thing just for 1 week for the next coming 8 weeks. So just do your best, one thing at a time. If you want to make changes, just choose one area, make a specific plan, look for support in your family, your friends. Find a space that recognizes you as the expert of you. You don't need to be told what to do because you already know it. You know what to do. You have so much information, and sometimes looking for information will just make you overwhelmed. With the information that you have, how can you put it into action? So everything I'm always trying to do is to get you to take action. We're trying to find ways to overcome the blocks and barriers to the health we want, the life we want. So I hope I'll put this in a way that is manageable for you. So as always, it's time for you to choose what you feel you want to change in the next section of identify, overcome, and plan. When are you going to start? How often are you going to do it? So stay tuned. As always, don't forget to subscribe. I hope this has been helpful for you. If you know someone who is thinking of doing something new this year for their health, for their lifestyle, please share this episode with them. Or if you're thinking about New Year's resolutions and you really want to do something, I hope I've given you an effective way of looking at it, an effective way of approaching it. And of course, if you need that support, I am right here for you. So you can use the QR code. You can email me, admin@tracythehealthcoach.com, or on my website, www.tracythehealthcoach.com, or where else on my social media at Tracy the Health Coach. And the Tracy is without an E. So thank you so much for watching. I hope this has been helpful. Once again, thank you for subscribing. Thank you to those who subscribed. I am really grateful. And I wish you all, I pray for you all for a super abundantly and exceedingly blessed and healthy new year. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you on the next episode.